Hello, I'm back with another video on Steel Division. This video I'm going to focus on unit stats, specifically these cards, and I'm going to go over infantry, armor. I'll then discuss penetration versus armor value, and then finally just discuss air. So, looking at these cards, up in the top it shows what weapons the unit has, and the number to the left here is how many of each weapon they have. So this means they have only one MP40 but 7 98Ks. Going down, strength is the number of units in the group. Stealth is how good is it hiding. You get a negative stealth modifier when they're moving. I can't tell you right now what optics, let's say how far normal optics can view something with normal stealth. I can't give you those ranges yet. I've been trying to find that out, but I can't find any definitive post or just stats out there. So unfortunately, I do not know the ranges yet, but when I do find those out, I will be sure to share them with you. Speed, how fast is it moving? And if you look, vehicles are going to have two speeds. Off-road and on-road. So left is off-road, right if they're on a main road. Then you have optics and cargo space. As far as I know, there's only two types of cargo space currently, and that is heavy and light. Most stuff that is light is going to be infantry. All that means is heavy unit cannot get in a vehicle that only has light cargo space, but so if we look at the half tracks, the Panzer Grenadiers come in, their cargo space is heavy, or their transport is heavy, so they can carry heavy units. The Recon, as you probably can tell, transport light, so they could not transport Panzer Grenadier. And they don't have an armament. Anything without an armament will disappear after you disembark out of it. So as long as it has a gun, like this half-track, it will stay on the field. So then, back up at the weapons, you have accuracy. Higher is better. Rate of fire. If it's... I'm sorry about that. Popping up crap. Yeah. If it has an AP value... so this just means it can attack armor. Then if it's HE, the higher the value, the better it is at suppressing and stressing infantry. Also, like almost every weapon in the game, the closer you are, the more effective. So then you have the range. So the closer you're going to be to something, the more you're going to hit it. And same for HE weapons. They're going to do more if you're right up to the target. So if you're shooting at something 100 meters away with this weapon, it's going to suppress it even quicker. And if it has an AoE. And basically stuff like flamethrowers and artillery are about the only things that are going to have AoE off the top of my head. But that's just what the stats mean. So vehicles are not going to be too different. So you have your weapons up top again. This just means it has 3 MGs. You will also notice that vehicles over here, it shows your armor value. And the armor is different from front, sides, and rear. On the unit cards, it's always going to show the front armor. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind, so example, my best... armor value I have is this Defense Panzer at 14. Its rear and sides are only 5. So everything is vulnerable at the sides and rears, basically. And what I mean by that is, so AP versus AV. So AP, armor piercing, AV, armor value. All AP is, this number is what its AP is at 1,000 meters. And that has become the consensus from just the posts I've been reading and the tests that I've watched people do. So at 1,000 meters, this tank will have 14 AP. Every 101 meters closer to the target, you get one more point to the value. So if I'm shooting at something 899 meters away, I would effectively have 15 AP. If I shoot at something 799 meters away, I would have 16. So you can think of it as 900 meters, but I think technically you have to be that extra meter within. So technically, I think 900 to 1,000 is this number, and then 800 to 899 would increase this by 1. So, what exactly does AP? How does that stack up against the armor value? Well, if the AP and armor value are equal, you only have a 2% chance to pen. The higher your AP is compared to the armor value, the better chance you have to penetrate. For example, if it's 1 higher, you're going to have an 8% chance to pen. 2 higher, 16%. 3 higher, 27%. All the way up to 9 higher, where you're going to have 97% chance to pen. Or, I'm sorry, if you're at 10 higher than whatever you're shooting at, it's a guaranteed penetration, as long as you hit 100% chance. Now, AV does not, it's not affected by range. Your armor value, whether you're 1,500 meters away or 500 meters away, it's always 8. It doesn't change. It's only the penetration that will gain or lose. So the one thing I want to point out, so we look at what our tank with the best armor in the 12th Panzer Division is the Defense Panther. It's 14 at front, 5 in the side and rear. So that means if this P2 would engage that tank, it only has 4. So it doesn't have a chance shooting at the front or even at the sides at 100 or 1,000 meters. But if we get, let's say, to 499 meters, we're now adding. Yeah, if we're 499 meters away, we're adding 5 to this value. So now we effectively have 9 AP. So still at the front, we couldn't do anything. But if you flank this or get behind it, you're now 4 AP higher than the AV, which means you have a 42% to penetrate. So light vehicles and stuff with lower AP can still be very effective. Because, I mean, if you look at every tank in the game, you're going to be hard-pressed to find probably much that is higher than a 5 on the rear sides. So the Panther G has 6 on the side. But most things people are going to be calling in are going to be things that are going to have 3, 4, 5 on the side. So keep that in mind with light vehicles. They're not worthless at the end of the game. You just got to position them and use their mobility a little bit more. And strength vehicle basically just means it's a vehicle compared to infantry. As far as I know, vehicles basically have 1 HP. If they get shot at, the game's rolling the dice to see if it pens or not. If it doesn't pen, it just bounces and nothing happens. Basically, you're still gonna gain stress. But if it does pen, it will crit one of the systems, which can mean the driver's stunned. It knocks the track out. It might decrew the vehicle, or it might light the ammunition or fuel and just kill it. But vehicles don't have a health bar or anything in the game. Basically, once they get penned, something's bad is going to happen. That doesn't always mean it's going to be awful. Sometimes it's just going to be something that just knocks the vehicle out for a couple seconds, and then you can get it away. But that's how vehicle health works in the game. And air isn't too different. Air, same thing. You have your weapons, how many of each. And then you have agility, which is it's basically a turning rate. So that's going to be one of the big differences between something a dogfighter and then something that's like a bomber. As a bomber is medium agility, dogfighter is very good. Most likely, if these two engage in a fight, neither stress, the dogfighter is going to quickly outturn and get behind the dive bomber and shoot it down. Then you have resilience, which is basically how much stress it can take before it has to retreat. And something like a bomber is going to have a lot more resilience, but it's, it has horrible agility. Then, of course, you have speed and optics. So that is basically your units. How to read stats. Not too much more to say. One other thing is if a vehicle is open top or not. So basically, if it's open topped, it just means it's more vulnerable. It's going to be more susceptible to artillery mortars, air attacks, just because it's gauging that the infantry in the top of it can be killed easily compared to infantry in a tank that's enclosed. So, hope you learned something. My next video, I'll probably focus on just tactics, good do's or don'ts, on a little bit, on more of a, I guess, advanced scale. So I'll hopefully I won't be covering stuff what symbols mean and stats and stuff. I'll be kind of digging a little bit more into strategies and metas. And again, I made this while the game's in beta, so a lot of these values on these units could change, and there's only 4 divisions in the game currently, so who knows if there's going to be some special units that have special type of weapons or stats or something that they've kept secret from us. So until next time, hopefully I see you again.